Welcome to ETHDam, to ETHDam, to ETHDam, to ETHDam, to ETHDam.
Check. I could use a little bit of more Mando in our mix, in the in-ear mix.
You got that, Board? Yeah, I can't really hear Mando hardly at all. And as much as that is a delight.
He needs that.
Is that good enough?
Yeah, I think so. Can you play?
Oh. That to me is
good.
a little too much, no? That's a lot of Mando. I think
Okay,
maybe
tiny little bit less. But it was great for me.
That sounds good. Are we checked? We good? Is that green light for you, Board? Yeah. Okay. Did you say something?
Unless you have any requests, I guess.
My only request is that you, for next time, get you a talkback mic, man. We would love to be jawing with you the whole time. We would love to have inside jokes.
Yeah, basically one of these, right? One of the.
I think we're all checked. Are we waiting for anything, or we're good to go? Oh. Okay. This is a very small crowd. That's cool. How you doing, everybody? Yes. This is like few enough that I could learn names. James, Eleanor. Yes. Remind me? Nico. I was gonna say Zika or something. Nico. What is it? Alita? Alika. And here's the little one. Alethea. Or Ale. Anika, Nico. Yeah, name? Tiago. Fred. Steve. Luke. Tiago, Steve, Fred, Nico, Alika? Alika is the little one? Or you? Althea is the little one, and Alika is you and Eleanor and James. Okay, cool. Well, hey, I guess we're just picking the little for y'all. We don't even...
Tiago is Jacob, basically. Just wanted to say.
Oh.
Yeah.
Poor guy. Okay. A cool ragtag bunch of Amsterdam music for you, but first we'll play a few of the usual crypto songs.
poison pill that our pre-trained friends can swallow. There's no pot or poison pill that lost, so they're nobodies. They're nobody. It is my distinct honor to welcome to the stage Mr. Bones and the duo known as Jameis, Josh and Seamus. Give them a minute to get all set up. How many people in here are hacking at this hackathon? Oh, we got a couple. Fred, Steve, and Fred? Luke. 2 people hacking. Oh, there's hackers. Look, there's hackers right back there. Look, there's a whole table full of hackers. Let these guys get kind of tuned up. Well, I wish you all well in your hacking. You know, my advice is like, if you can imagine something that will make a politician happy, do the opposite of that thing. That's the way to win a hackathon. One thing we've been hacking on a lot over the course of the last couple of years is kind of finding a home on the internet for traditional music. You know, a lot of the music we play is old enough that it's before the days when anybody thought music could be owned, before the days that states tried to enact these intellectual property regimes, so they kind of live outside those. We call those traditionals. And some of them are awful pretty. We'll hit one for you right now.
Your tuner's on.
that sound good to you, Board? Yep. We love playing these traditionals because we're able to find people, all around the world that know them. And, we play at a lot of crypto events. I know, we've seen a lot of you before. We're playing at ETH Prague here on the 27th, which is the first day of ETH Prague. So if you're just arriving there and you want to come see us, remember it is the first day. And, we've always managed to find some really cool street pickers to play with us. We've played with local folks in Bogota and Cape Town and all over the U.S., of course, every time we've played, and here in Amsterdam and Barcelona. Really feels great to play these Ethereum events and kind of, make sure we're drawing from the not only drawing from the incredible local talent in a lot of these places, but also just showing the universality of some of this traditional music.
little buddy?
talking about bones, I've got some bone jewelry merchandise there on the table.
But yes,
You can buy if you want, or browse through. So
Bones makes amazing jewelry, and if you want, while you're in town, to buy some local jewelry made by a local pirate banjo guy, this might be your last chance. So get over there and check out the bones. Look at the bones! Another traditional for y'all. Another traditional of disputed origin, in fact, 2 in a row. they're great songs, although I think they are. But the special quality is the survivorship bias of living without any need for state intervention, without any need for copyright and intellectual property. That essence is what I think is one of the key ingredients for bringing together a 72-hour hackathon team, is understanding what is one of the smallest deeds you can perform that will last in that way. It doesn't need to be earth-changing, doesn't even need to be you-changing. State changes that you make to the blockchain will probably exist on some platter somewhere in 1,000 years, maybe. I think nowadays it might make sense to treat hackathons as like an educational sleepover with the AI of 1,000 years from now. Machine with the capacity for nearly infinite consumption of information reading, and you stumbled across a copy of the Ethereum blockchain, I think you'd probably want to know, like, oh wow, they got together in person, these weird meat machines, and they like modified this with each other in person every once in a while. I think that's probably one of the places I would look first. Keep going with a string of traditionals. dreadful wind and rain. dreadful wind and rain. From the wood come a fiddler fair. Oh, the wind and rain. And he saw her bones just lying there. is a surviving written version of that song that's from 1658. And it's actually pretty legible. There's a scan on archive.org. And I've written quite a bit, about like 20 pages or so, of kind of a narrative story of what seems like happened to this song over those hundreds of years. But it's songs like that that really, I think, really belong on the blockchain. Well, it's been cool picking for, just a few of you. Really a pleasure. We're just going to play one more, and then we'll come and, hang. Woohoo! Yeah. To my banjo guy on Friday, sent him a message in the clear. I asked him to paddle down some canal, we hoped a violin might appear. And sure enough, that message, that plain text upon the wire, was intercepted by a fiddler with a 3-letter qualifier. State fiddler, I'll fiddle with your data every day. A nanny state fiddler who plays the violin this way. And much to my amazement, she showed up on my porch. She wore a suit and had dark shades, and her instrument had been torched. She had learned just about all my songs from a warrantless wiretap, but she played them all like I'd never seen, with a brushstroke and a slap. She said, I'm the nanny state fiddler, I'll fiddle with your data every night. A nanny state fiddler who plays your darkness in her light. From myself when I had almost wronged a man, but she knew me better than my mom and dad, so maybe that had been her plan. She said, let me fiddle with your life, new friend, I'll keep your backbeat, and if you ever need a listening ear, I'll be eavesdropping from my seat. She said, I'm the nanny state fiddler, I'll fiddle with your data when I can. I get a little lonesome when I read your math, cause it messes with my plan. A nanny state fiddler fiddles with your data every day. A nanny state fiddler plays the violin this way. thanks so much, ETHDam, Crypto Canal. Yeah, we really enjoyed playing this show. We'll be around probably for, the next couple of days. We'd love to talk about your project and talk about our project and kind of just find out what's going on here. I came up through the hackathon scene, so these things really mean a lot to me. I actually was on a team that won the New York Public Media Hackathon in 2009 for building a bot that detected, no, it was 2012, that detected, it was a bot that detected the emergence of the 17-year cicada, and NPR ended up putting them all over the place. It was one of my really proud hackathon stories. So I know how cool hackathons can be. If you are hacking or if you are sponsoring and you don't get jack shit done, that's okay. You gotta be cool with it a lot of the time. Especially as a sponsor, if I'm being honest, you're not always gonna get great submissions, but you can meet great people, and